Hello and welcome to my YouTube video. This particular video is going to be about comparing short row turns in reverse stockinette stitch. I also have a video on short row turns in garter stitch and short row turns in stockinette stitch. This is the third in that series and it's going to be on reverse stockinette stitch. So we're going to make several different short row turns, and the first one is going to be right here. So let's get to that. So the first one is just going to be a turn. No wrap, no trying to conceal it. We're just going to turn the work, and then we're going to knit back, and we'll come and we'll make our second short row turn right here. So I'm going to turn the video off and knit back and come back to this point, and we'll do the second short row turn. Okay, so now I'm purling back to where we're going to make our second short row turn. I'm going to be demonstrating how to do just a turn, which we did, and then a wrap and turn without concealing it, and then a second wrap and turn, which we will conceal. And then we're going to do a yarn over short row turn, a Japanese short row turn, and a German short row turn. There are more short row turns, but I really haven't found there to be many differences between them, so I think having the number we have here is sufficient for you to try and see which ones you like. So now we are at the turning point. This is where we're going to turn. We did our first turn here, which we didn't do any sort of wrap or anything. We just turned the work. So we're going to slip the stitch to the needle, take the yarn to the back, put the stitch back, and then we'll turn the work. Or you can put the yarn to the back, slip the stitch, bring the yarn to the front, turn the work. It doesn't matter. You'll see some people say it one way and others say another way, but what you're doing is wrapping this stitch. Can you see how the yarn's going around the neck of that stitch? And then we're going to work back. If you're new to my YouTube videos, I am a master hand knitter, and I love to share my finessing of knitting. I have lots and lots of educational videos. You can subscribe to my channel, and then you get notified every time I make a new video. I kind of make them in fits and spurts because sometimes I feel really creative and other times I don't. So I make them when I feel like it. I find that I make the best videos when I'm interested in the topic. So you'll find a wide variety of topics in my videos, but there's a little bit of everything. So now we're going to work back. We've done our first turn here. Our second turn was right here, but we wrapped this stitch so it makes the gap there. So you can see the gap, but you know the turn is one stitch before the gap. Okay, so on this row of this is the right side of the fabric, even though we're purling, because we're creating reverse stockinette stitch for this set of short row turns. And this next short row turn is also going to be a wrap and turn. And when we come back and knit over the tops of these, we will conceal this one to see how it looks in reverse stockinette stitch. It's good to know a variety of ways of doing short row turns, even including just turning your work, because you'll be surprised which ones look best in the different situations. Right, here's where we're going to make our turn. Here was the last turn. We're having 4 stitches in between. So we're just going to slip and bring it over here, and we're going to turn the work and knit back. So the next one will be a yarn over short row turn. And this doesn't matter whether you're a continental knitter or an English knitter. The short rows are worked exactly the same. So don't pay attention to which hand I'm holding the yarn in. Just pay attention to the maneuvers at the turns. That's what counts. When we get to the German short row, I'll show it, and the yarn over short row, I'll show it in both hands because it may look different. So this one coming up is going to be the yarn over short row turn in reverse stockinette stitch. We'll be up to that point in just a second. One, two, three, four, one, two more stitches. Okay, so in this case, yep, we turn the work first, and then we put the needle under the yarn. Usually when you knit, you have the needle over the yarn, right? In front of the yarn, the right needle in front of the yarn. But when you're going to make a yarn over, you put the right needle behind the yarn, make a stitch, and that gives you a yarn over plus a stitch. If you're throwing, this is what it looks like. Normally, if you're knitting, the yarn is behind the needle. But if you're going to make a yarn over, you put the needle behind the yarn and then make the stitch, and you get your yarn over and your stitch. And then we're going to work to the end of the row. And the next one's going to be this Japanese short row turn. When I first heard all these different ones, I thought, ooh, there's these, how fun and exciting. There's very little difference between them. And that's why it's good for you to try them all for yourself to see. If you just know one, the others will be mysteries to you. So this one's going to be the Japanese short row turn. And that's how I learn all this stuff, is trial and error. Research, I do a lot of reading about all the different techniques, and I like to read the older works. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, here's where our Japanese turn is going to be. So we turn the work first. We take our removable stitch marker and we just place it over the working yarn and just let it hang there. And then we're going to work back. And then the next one, the last one's going to be the German short row. And I know there are other techniques, and I have tried them. I think this is enough for you to try. And once you get these down, you can try the others too. Okay, we're going to do a German short row turn. So when you do the German short row turn, we've got our 4 stitches, and it's 4 between there's 4 stitches here, 4 until the next turn. German short row turn is going to involve the following stitch, so you actually have to work the stitch after where it's going to be turned. Then we turn our work. Whoops, we pulled this out. It goes right here. We're going to close that. It wants to pop off. Okay, so we worked 1 stitch past. We turn our work. If we're working continental, we bring this yarn forward, slip that last work stitch to the right needle, and at the same time pull the stitch up, and then we would knit back. If we are working English method, same thing. We have the yarn in the front, slip the stitch, pull the stitch up, make the double stitch so both legs are up on top of the needle, and then knit. See the double stitch right there? Now we're going to turn and work back over all of these stitches and see what the difference is between the different short row methods, different short row turn methods in reverse stockinette stitch. Okay, now we're going to work back across all those short row turns and get an idea of what they're going to look like. So we're going to purl to the German short row turn, and we'll identify it because there's a double stitch, and you can see that double stitch there. So we're just going to purl both legs together as 1 stitch. Then we're going to come up on the Japanese short row turn. There's the gap. We use the marker, and we're just going to pull this stitch up onto the needle. Without losing it. I'm always looking through my camera when I'm doing this, and I have no 3D effect at all. So then we're going to purl these 2 stitches together as one. The yarn over plus the following stitch. We're going to work over to the yarn over short row turn. There's our yarn over, and we're going to work it together with the following stitch as a purl 2 together. Then we're going to come to our wrap and turn, the one we're going to conceal. Here's the wrapped stitch right here. What we're going to do is we're going to pick it up from the front to the back and put it on the needle, and then we're going to purl it together. That's the opposite of what you would do if you were knitting and this were on here. This is the wrap. You would pick it up from the back and put it on here and purl to conceal it. But we want the reverse stockinette to be the right side, so we're picking it up from the front, and then we purl these 2 together. And then we're going to come up on our wrap that we're not going to conceal, we're just going to knit over it. Here's the wrap. We're just going to knit right over it. And then we're going to, purl, we're purling. And then we're going to purl to the end. And then I'm going to knit back. I'll turn the camera off just for a second. I'm going to knit back, and then we'll take a look and see what these look like. Now we've finished returning back, and we're going to take a look and see what these look like. You can see them in the fabric. This is the German, Japanese, yarn over, concealed wrap and turn. This one you can't see here. This is the wrap and turn that we didn't conceal, and here is just the turn. So let's take a look at these up close and personal. Let's start over here with just the turn. It is right here. This is where we turned. It doesn't look so bad, does it? There is the hole, but in general that looks okay. Here's the same thing in the stockinette stitch and in garter stitch. In garter stitch you can see it looks really, really good. In fact, this is my second preferred method in garter stitch, is just turning. In stockinette I probably wouldn't just turn. You get this little glitch here. There's so many other ways that look good in stockinette. But in reverse stockinette it doesn't look bad. Here's the hole right here. Does not look bad. Not my number one choice though. So the second one over is going to be our short row turn that we did not conceal. And that is right here. Let me get my pointer, my trusty pointer. Right here is the short row turn that we did not conceal. And you can see that that is very much hidden with all these purl bumps. It's invisible. This is my number one preferred method for short row turns in reverse stockinette. Now if you look at the other side, of course, yes, you can see where it's gone across the fabric here. It is very noticeable, and you wouldn't want that on the right side of your fabric, but if it's the wrong side, it's okay, because it really looks good on this side. It's right here. Now the next one over is the wrap and turn that we concealed, and although it's concealed, it's not really invisible. It is noticeable, and it leaves a little bump there. Here is the yarn over short row turn, same way, it is visible. And then the Japanese short row turn is also visible. The German short row turn is pretty invisible. It could be my second choice. My first choice would just be wrap and turn without concealing. Second choice would be German short row turn, and third choice would be just turning. Now I also did this trying to use SSPs instead of purl 2 togethers, and I'll throw that little video on at the very end after this, after I finish this section here, and you can see the difference between that too. So if you enjoy my videos, be sure to subscribe, share them with your friends, and come back for more. Take care and happy knitting. Now we're going to work back across all of these short rows, and I'm going to continue in the same color of yarn. I tried it with the white, it doesn't look so good, so that's why we're doing this, to see what the difference is between them. So here's our first one. This is the German short row turn, and we've got that double stitch there, see it? We're just going to purl both legs together as one stitch. And then we'll be coming up on our Japanese short row turn. It's right here. And we're going to pull this yarn, pull that loop that's on the stitch marker up onto the needle. It's on the left needle. Now we're going to combine this stitch and this stitch together as one, like an SSP. So with the yarn in the front, we slip this as if to knit, slip this as if to knit, put them both back on the left needle, and work them together as one stitch, one purl stitch through the back loops, like an SSP. Then we're going to work over to the yarn over. Here's the yarn over, right there. We're going to treat that and the following stitch as an SSP also. We're going to slip as if to knit, slip as if to knit, put them both back on the left needle, purl them together through the back loops. You have to come through the second stitch, then the first stitch, through the back loops, and purl them together. Now we're going to come to our wrap and turn. And it can be hard to identify, but there's always that gap. See the gap? And here's the wrap right here. So we're going to knit over, we're going to purl over to it. Then we're going to lift the wrap from the back up onto the left needle, and we're going to purl these together as one stitch. Then we're going to just purl across the rest of the work. We're going to ignore this wrap because we just want to see what it looks like. And we're going to work right across where we just turned. Whoops. Keeping the stitches on the needles would help, so that we can see what these look like. And I'm going to turn the work and work one more row, and then we'll take a close look to see what the difference is in all these short row turns. So hold on, I'll be right back for the comparison in just a second. Okay, so here we are. We're back to see what we have and take a look at it. You can see from a distance there's some glaring issues here that do not look good on the front of the work. Let's take a close-up. Okay, right over here is where we just turned, and we didn't do anything special. We just turned the work and worked back. And that doesn't look half bad. Although you have this little glitch here where the white yarn gets pulled up, which is the same thing that we had here and here when we just turned the work. But you can see in garter stitch it really doesn't show much. It would show more in reverse stockinette. So let's move over to the wrap that we did not pick up. So that's going to be, we've got 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 right here. This, let's find the wrap. Here's the wrap right here. Can you see? Let's enlarge this even more. Here's the wrap. It's going around the neck of this stitch right here. Here's the wrap. We did not pick it up. I think that is the best option in reverse stockinette, just to make a wrap and turn. Do not try to conceal it. It blends right in with the fabric. Same thing when we did the garter stitch. Here's the wrap that we didn't pick up. It blends right in. It looks absolutely perfect. And this is my preferred method in garter stitch and my preferred method in reverse stockinette. Here's the wrap where we concealed it, and it makes a glaring little thing on the front of the work. Here's the yarn over conceal, also makes a issue on the front of the work. Here's the Japanese short row, does not look good. The German short row looks pretty good, 1, 2, 3, 4. Here it is right here. And I would say that is a totally acceptable way to make a short row turn. You do have this little funny looking thing right here, but it's not very noticeable. So there you have it. If you like the education that I'm teaching you in these videos, be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel and share my videos with your friends. This is all free. It does not cost anything to subscribe to my channel. And I have a group on Ravelry called Knitting with Suzanne Bryan and a group on Facebook, Knitting with Suzanne Bryan. I'll put links in the description. Be sure to join us for the conversation. It's all about learning and fun. Happy knitting.